All right, Storm fans, we want to thank you guys for tuning in yet again here on the Storm Alerts podcast. We have a great guest lined up tonight. Very excited for him to be on the team. Very excited for you guys to get a chance to meet him. So, without further ado, let's introduce our guest. It is going to be Mr. Chris Platt. And here's just a bit.
She got the juice,
We are getting.
she made the plans, and I made the moves. Quarterback like Cam, we're cooking up grapplers, support my fam. I'm trying to get them all in the lamb. I just bought that new
This ball almost dropped as Chris Platt picks it up. Now Platt with running room, and he's got blocker, and he's got speed, and he's down the sideline, and he's high stepping, and he's into the end zone, and he's down at the one.
You just pressing button, we hitting the kill switches. Don't want to get in the loop. Eat it up,
Down the middle of the field to the end zone. What a grab! Touchdown, Baylor by Chris.
All right, Mr. Chris Platt, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. We are glad to have you on here with us tonight. So, Chris, can you kind of tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from?
Yeah. Chris Platt Jr. Born in, well, I wouldn't say raised, but born in Crockett, Texas. So that's
Okay.
East Texas. And then I was raised in Willis, Texas. That's where I graduated high school. So it's about 45 minutes north of Houston.
Okay. So, pretty far south there in Texas then.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit about when did you find your love for football? How did you really get into football originally?
Honestly, I would probably say when I was about in third or fourth grade, when I was in Lovelady, Texas, which is a small city that's probably like 10 minutes north of Crockett, where I was born. Um, I went to school there from third grade to fifth grade, and me and my cousin, we would always like play the game. We were always playing NFL Street 2. We didn't have like an organized football organization, so like we would always play the video game, and then we would go outside and play with his older cousin Terrence out in the dirt road, and just play some football, just playing Romo Tubble Fumble, or just playing jackpot, where you're just throwing the ball up in the air and just like throwing out a number and saying like whoever catches this ball, like you get a certain amount of numbers and whatnot. But I feel like that's where I kind of found my love for football, and that's when I kind of started watching it. Because my first love was probably basketball, to be honest, and watching LeBron James in 2003, Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, and then honestly that was just like a basketball heavy town.
Mhm.
So to like from the game of football to be like in sports, and it was like in the video game for me to just go out and just play the game with my cousin, just playing the same thing that we kind of see in the video game and kind of replicate it. It was probably that was probably like my start of the love of the game.
Okay. Awesome. So, how did you? I mean, we know you spent some time at Baylor. How did you end up there? I mean, who was your coach? How did you get there?
Yeah, so my junior year, um, so honestly, so my freshman and sophomore year, I won state in track
Mm-hmm.
in the 400
Okay.
in the state of Texas in 4A. And so I started getting some flow for track scholarships from all over.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my first offer by Baylor,
Okay.
and it kind of just struck me. I don't know why it struck me, but like I got my first call. I'll never forget it. I was in English class with Miss Strozer, and so like, he called me. I stepped outside of the classroom, And he was like, "Hey, Platt," and it was Coach Browse. And he's
Mhm.
like, "Hey, we watched your film. We seen your your um your track stats and all the other things." And he said, "Well, if we're lucky to have you, we'd love you to be a Baylor Bear."
Mhm.
And I said, "Well, honestly, I'm very honored, and I will talk to my parents, and I will get back to you when I want to decide."
Yeah.
And honestly, like right then and there, when he had gave me that call, my first offer after my junior year, I was like very ecstatic. So
Yeah.
like I was like going to YouTube and like just searching Baylor stuff and like seeing how like their culture was, how they
Mhm.
were in football, like how they were in their offense, and it honestly when I watched it, it was like this fits me perfectly, and none of that happens without them recruiting Tevin Reese.
Yeah.
And so he was like the guy that fit me,
Mhm.
like in me and my stature. Anyways, I was probably like 5'10", 165 at the
Mm.
moment, and Tevin Reese was probably 5'10", 170, 175
Mhm.
in college. So
Okay.
like I've never really seen a lot of like small guys
Mhm.
exceeding in a college offensive playbook.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so they made this guy successful. They can make me successful as
Yeah.
well. So that's kind of how I kind of click with them from the
No.
jump, and obviously being the first offer, it was like very exciting as well.
I'm sure them being the first offer didn't help their or didn't hurt their case any when it came down to
Yeah,
the second time. Um,
yeah.
so I mean, you were there. You said Coach Bryles era, uh, running and gunning. How do you feel
hmm
like that developed you as a player?
it developed me as a player because their their what I'm trying to think of their motto basically for a receiver basically was win your one on ones, and
Yeah.
that was like we're gonna get you in space, we're gonna get you one on one with a linebacker or a safety,
Hmm.
and you just need to win that rep.
Yeah.
And honestly, and basically they're saying is we're gonna prepare you for this moment to where when you line up against certain linebacker or safety, you know you're gonna win.
Hmm. Yeah.
So with me like having that excitement, just
Hmm.
like looking at the games, tuning in live, looking at replays and highlights and stuff, I knew they were gonna get me in space for
Hmm.
me to win.
Yeah.
So in high school, it was more pro style,
Mhm.
where like it was certain concepts to where like I was in of a play, out of a play, but you could tell like if you tuned in at Baylor, they would design plays to make
Mhm.
mismatches.
Yeah.
So that's what I love the most about it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously, coming into the Arena Football League, it's a little bit of a smaller field, a few less players out
hmm
there. How do you think that that's going to, I guess, not necessarily translate, but how do you think that that'll be an advantage for you as a player and then us as a team
Yeah.
in a little
Um.
bit smaller
So
field?
I would probably say Coach Rule probably did more justice on that
Mhm.
end. So I was with Coach Browse for 2 years, and then I had Coach Grove for a year, and then Coach Rule for 2 years.
Yeah.
So the end 2 years, Coach Rule was more physical. So
Hmm.
he was more about position drill, not necessarily position drill, but the perimeter
Yeah.
drill. So like more screens and short plays and stuff like so learning how to block and learning how to move and navigate in those screens.
Yeah.
So I'll never forget like the first time we did perimeter drill, and we did it for 10 minutes. The
Mhm.
first play perimeter drill, we're doing a bubble, and I was the outside receiver, and I got hit in the mouth, and it caught me off guard. It did. It caught me off guard because like how physical they were telling the cornerbacks to like come down and hit the receiver.
Yeah.
and it kind of woke me up. And I'm not gonna lie. So like even in Coach Brown's offense, like we were pretty physical on the perimeter drills, but like in Coach Rule's offense, it was like more emphasized.
Yeah.
So honestly, it kind of woke me up. That first hit kind of clicked.
Mhm.
So don't want to get so far off road, but like when I was on defense in high school, I didn't really like defense as much, and I was a safety, and I got hit once in my junior year in spring training, and that's all I needed. That's all I needed for me to just turn it on. Like, okay, this is real. So same experience that happened to me my junior year in high school that happened to me my junior year in college.
Yeah.
So that one cornerback hit me in the mouth as we're protecting for the bubble.
Yeah.
And I remember my high school coach telling me like, "Hey, if I'm ever blocking a screen, um, in a blocking for the running back in a running play, I would always look at my running back or that person that's about to catch the screen and tell him I got him, just
Mhm.
for accountability, so they know that they don't have to worry about somebody leaking through and hitting them in the mouth because
Yeah.
I didn't miss my block."
Yeah.
So I took accountability for that necessarily because I don't, for me, for certain, I don't want to let the team down. I
Mhm.
always want to make sure they know I'm going to give my all every single play.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. So stepping into the arena football league, I mean, I guess what what's your excitement level for the little bit of a different game and some of the little few different rules?
Yeah. What's exciting me the most is that I've never played Arena Football League,
Hmm.
and I've been looking at some highlights, just kind of like getting to know the game and
Hmm.
like how it's played. Um, honestly, it's just the side of not knowing
Hmm.
because I've never played before. So it's pretty exciting. It's pretty also nerve-wracking
Hmm.
because I don't really know what to expect, but I do know what to expect. But it's just preparing myself
Yeah.
like for those rules and
Mhm.
everything after that.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen, so they are doing the Iron Man, which basically means you got to go. Certain people are going to have to go both ways. Um, I, I know you said you're not a huge fan back in the day. You weren't a huge fan of playing defense. Um, but does that give you any excitement that you're going to have the opportunity to show off a little bit of a different skill set than what you normally would as a receiver? Well, it looks like we might have lost him. We're going to let him get back to where he can talk. We do want to remind you, take a moment to remind everybody that we are still looking for sponsors. Don't be afraid to reach out to any of these emails down here below. Media info or GM, all those are at swkstormfootball.com. We can find packages that are perfect for you. And so anything that you are wanting, any way you want to get involved with the storm, feel free to reach out through any of these. Looks like we might have Chris back here.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you now.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Yeah.
I heard you, but I don't know if you could hear me or not. But the question was the defense part.
Yeah.
Um, I'm totally fine with it. I mean, the recruiter that had reached out to me told me that I may or may not like have to do both sides.
Yeah.
And in high school, honestly, just like so the fans can know a little bit about me. So in high school, which is when I say this, it's gonna sound wild, but I
Mhm.
mean for y'all's sake, it's gonna be good. But
Mm.
in high school, I played more defense than I did play offense,
Okay. Yeah.
and I was the second leading tackler for our high school team.
Okay. Hey,
And
that's good. That's good news.
yeah. So I was recruited by Georgia Tech to play both.
Okay.
And I never committed or anything like that. They got me on the phone and told me like, we're in a wing T. You're gonna play the slot back, so where
Mhm.
you can be the inside receiver, you can be running back, and you're also gonna be DB. So
Mhm.
like they offered me that position. I think they were the only team that kind of offered me to do both,
Mhm.
which I wasn't opposed of it. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved playing DB. I loved playing both sides because as a team player, I it killed me to be on the sidelines and not be able to have some type of hand in the game.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, like being a receiver, being a really good receiver, it also killed me not being able to play as much offense
Mhm.
as I did defense in high school.
Yeah.
So me playing both, don't have to worry about it. I'm literally gonna do whatever I need to help the team.
Yeah. That's great. I love hearing that. And I know our fans are gonna love hearing that as well.
Yeah.
So can you kind of tell us a little bit about what was your conversation like with Coach Thomas when he reached out and talked with you about getting you out here to Southwest Kansas?
Yeah. So the recruiter texted me. It was oh no, he called me. I'll take that back. He called me, and it was out of the blue. So I was a free agent. The year before, I had just got back off of ACL surgery, and I was with the New Jersey Generals in the USFL.
Okay.
And I had some bad knee pains like after knee surgery that kind of like inflamed and stuff like that. And it was to the point to where I could barely walk.
Yeah.
But like the competitor I was, I would literally just go out to practice, not matter like how bad I felt. I
Hmm.
was just going to push myself to the limit,
Yeah.
and they kind of they saw it,
Hmm.
and they let me go, let me get the help that I needed to get myself healthy again to obviously continue my career in football.
Yeah.
So I helped them. Oh, I thanked them for letting me do that because they could have just let me go and not do anything about it.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, I just went on just a tangent and
You're good.
not really fully understand like the question that you asked me.
No, it's
But
all good. I like it.
but honestly, it's just it's one of those things where like if I play defense, I'm it's not I'm not gonna blink. I'm not gonna bat an eye. I'm not gonna ask a question. I'm just gonna go straight out there and just do whatever I need to help the team win. And that's all I care about.
Yeah. No, that's great. Um, so what's something that you think all the fans should know about you? I mean, you kind of alluded to a couple big things that you're going to give it. You don't care what side of the ball you're on. You're going to give it your competitor. But what's something else you think
Yeah.
the fans ought to know about you?
Um, something the fans should know about me. I'm selfless.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not egotistical to where like it's all about me.
Hmm.
I'm able and willing to like give up a certain like spot or position, like say like I'm the leading receiver, but yet we need more people in DB. I'll be the first person to jump on it and say, "Hey, I'll help you," because
Yeah.
we need more people on the defensive side because we got a lot of people down.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of people from Baylor can kind of contest to this as well. It's just you just know I'm just in the game to just win it.
Yeah.
And I'm all for the team. I'm not all about myself. And I'm just gonna give my body and
Hmm.
myself and no matter what, I'm just gonna give whatever I can for the
Hmm.
team to win.
Oh, perfect. Love it. Um, we kind of talked about it a little bit. Is there anything you are looking forward to specifically about coming out to Southwest Kansas. It doesn't sound like you've ever really been up this way too much.
Yeah.
Outside of traveling games.
Yeah, so I've been to Manhattan. I've been to Lawrence because Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. So my wife is from Colorado, so
Okay.
we don't really touch Kansas when we go to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
But the times that like we've traveled to Kansas State, um, honestly, it's something new,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of like what I'm looking forward to. In Dodge City, never been there before.
Yeah.
I think it's probably what 10 hours from I looked it up. It's like 10 hours from Manhattan, maybe.
We're like 4 hours from Manhattan.
Uh, which one is it? It's a major city. I forgot. Oh man, they're gonna hate me for this.
Oh no.
Uh,
Yeah, we're 6 hours from Kansas City and Denver both, and then we're about 3 hours from Wichita.
yeah, Wichita. That's the one. That's the one. It's not that far from Wichita. So,
Yeah.
what I'm really looking forward to is just to see how the city is and like how the people are and the food and obviously the barber because I need a haircut as it is right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully the barbers are good out there. And
We got a couple. I'll make sure when you get out here, we'll hook you up with a couple that know what's
yeah,
going on.
I'm gonna need a good hookup, and I know Kansas City they're good for their barbecue. So I wonder how they are in South City, Kansas,
Yeah.
in Dodge City, not South City,
Yeah.
Dodge City, Kansas.
I know you're trying to put Southwest and Dodge City together, but it's all
Yeah. So, hopefully the barbecue is still good from Dodge City as well. But honestly, I'm just looking forward to the experience. Like I don't want to look too far ahead. I'm just trying to live in the moment.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Well, Chris, I want to thank you for being on tonight. Is there anything else you want the fans to know before we sign off for this week?
Yeah. So I have a daughter. Her birthday is March 7th, so she'll turn 1
Oh,
in a few days.
yeah.
And then my my 1 year, no, not my 1 year, my 2 year anniversary will be April 23rd. So that'll be like 2 or 3 days before the first game, I think.
We're like 4 days, I think.
Yeah, so my wife will be in attendance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife, my kid, they're all in. Had a deep conversation with them. I definitely want to make sure that it was okay with her
Yeah.
before committing to this.
Yeah.
And obviously, I have a loving and caring wife that cares about like my goals and dreams and aspirations, which no man could ever ask for.
Yeah.
It's completely a truly a blessing to even have a wife that can understand like, hey, I still want to do this and kind of want to do this until you know you just kind of get that conclusion where like I'm done,
Yeah.
which I think I'm far from it,
Mm-hmm.
and she knows that I'm far from it, and we've been through so much, and you definitely gained some super fans with my wife and my kids. You'll probably find some website to where like she can get my little girl in some
Yeah.
Southwest Kansas gear and be rocking and rolling on game days.
That's awesome. I mean, we are working on getting that in conjunction with the Arena Football League. They got a couple things up, but we're going to get a couple more things going on there, and we'll make sure that your daughter has all the Southwest Kansas Storm gear she could possibly want or need.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't
fans,
wait.
yeah. Well, Chris, I want to thank you again for being on. It's been a pleasure. Fans, don't forget, make sure to stay up to date with everything we have going on. We will looking forward to getting all of these players here within the next just over a month. And until next week, don't forget Southwest Kansas, there is a storm coming.
Sure is.